Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this very special episode of the Biz Essentials Podcast. I'm your host, Veronika, and today my guest is me. In this bonus episode, I'm going to talk to you about why this podcast isn't for you. Yep, you heard that right. Stick around, and I'll be back right after this.
Tony Robbins once said, "No matter how many mistakes you make or how slow you progress, you are still way ahead of everyone who isn't trying." This is the Biz Essentials. You want to grow, get ahead, keep the spark. Here you'll get valuable insights and empowerment to grow personally and professionally. Isn't it about time you turn your dreams into successful passion projects? Learn how to be productive, be successful, be joyful, and more importantly, be yourself. The Be Essentials. This is the Biz Essentials. And this is your host, Veronika of Veronika Ventures.
And welcome back, guys. So it's true. This podcast isn't for everyone. If you're 100% happy with how your life is now and you don't want to make any changes, this podcast is probably not for you. If you want to transform your life, whether you feel like you're living life for the first time or you just want to make some minor adjustments, you're in the right place. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and the direction I see taking this podcast so you can see if it's right for you. For those of you who have been following me for a long time, know that this journey actually started for me when I thought I had cancer. I freaked out for a bit, and then suddenly I was like, you know what? If I have cancer, I don't know what's going to happen. I need to really start living my life. Up until about 2 years ago, I was very much an introvert, and I didn't really allow myself to live my life. Part of that was because I was extremely overweight, and I kept telling myself, really my whole life, when I lose weight, I'm going to skydive or scuba dive or go jet skiing, all this stuff that I wanted to do and try, but I was too afraid to do it when I was bigger. While I was finally living my life, I realized how much I had really missed out on. Not only the experiences, but with those experiences come a lot of lessons that as an adult, I still hadn't learned. Things that you should have learned as a kid, like socializing or initiating conversation. I know these sound like trivial things, but believe it or not, when you're overweight, people kind of ignore you. Now, as part of my trauma recovery, I actually belong to a lot of trauma support groups online. So I know that I'm not the only one. I want people to be able to listen to the podcast and transform their lives. In fact, not too long ago, I actually made a reel about this. One of my personal philosophies is that every person is here to follow their passions because that spark within them is there for a reason. So we all have these passions of things that we love because that's what we're meant to do with our lives. And so my podcast is focusing on helping people find that and then implementing tools to help them get there. That really is how I feel about this. Those of you who know me know that how much I love to learn. I really do. And as I've been starting my business and things like that, there's still a lot that I don't know. And when I have a problem, I usually consult Google or YouTube, podcast. I consult the experts. Cut to just a few months ago when I decided I was going to start a podcast so that I can have experts come on and explain things that they're really, really passionate about and that me and my listeners can really learn from someone who has studied it because they love it. And that has been so phenomenal. I can't even explain to you how impactful each one of these interviews has been for me. As I was editing, I had like a total flooding attack. Now, those of you who have a history of trauma or PTSD, things like that, you know what flooding is. It's basically when all of these like memories or emotions or all this stuff just starts kind of, it feels like an attack on your brain and your heart and your emotions. But as I was feeling this, even though it felt terrible, I realized that I was feeling it because I had been listening to these interviews over and over, and it really made me realize the impact of words on your brain, on your heart, on your spirit, how much those words can impact people's lives, hopefully not just me. That is my hope for the people who are listening to my podcast. I want to give you guys tools to change your life, and I want you to be able to listen and feel impacted by the words that you're hearing. Now, as I say this, I want to point out that not every episode is going to be for every person. People from all walks of life are going to be welcome on my podcast because you never know when that one piece of information is going to change someone's life. And even if you don't have a history of trauma, even if you've lived your life up to this point the way you've always wanted to, there's still things to be learned. If you're trying to grow your business, trying to succeed in life, stick around, because I am also interviewing people who are really, really good at doing those things. I have interviewed a variety of people. I've interviewed a fashion coach, and I've interviewed a trauma-informed business consultant, and I've interviewed someone who's doing high-tech security so that you can learn how to protect your information and your data in your business. And so if you come across an episode and you don't like it, don't write off the show entirely. Try a different episode, because they really are all going to be different. And it's just people who I feel a connection to, that I feel that I can learn something and convey that message to my listeners. The cool thing is, guys, I'm open to input. So if you have a topic or a question or something that you want me to explore in an episode, shoot me a DM or an email. You can find all of that information in the show notes, and I will find an expert to come on here and answer that for you. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. And remember, keep that spark, follow your passions, and more importantly, be yourself. And I'll catch you next time on the Biz Essentials.
You've been listening to the Biz Essentials. Thanks for listening to the show. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information, learning how to be productive, be successful, be joyful, and more importantly, be yourself, and turning your dreams into successful passion projects. By listening to this show, you've already set into motion the most important part, starting. So it's important to catch the next episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. In the meantime, hook up with us on social media at Veronika Ventures and at the Biz Essentials. Till next time, this is the Biz Essentials.
Today's quote of the day is actually from a book I'm in the middle of writing. The quote is, "You have the ability to transform your life and change the world of everyone around you. But first you have to choose to change yourself." Veronika Childs.